Krishna Prema Sankirtana Sukamara Prabhum Tambaji Gaura Kishoraya Bhaktavadutamutaya Gaurangre Panavringaya Radhabhavami Shirine Ande Bhakti Vinodanam Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastra Jasamrajam Tadharasa Sudanidim Gaura Raja Shita Shishir Vaishnave Vande Vigraham Taganata Prabhum Vande Premanidem Vidha Vaishnava Vanchapatribhyascha Kripasindhubhyacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Krishnam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha Mama Mandamate Gati Matsavasya Parampuja Radhamadamahano Divyadvindaranya Kalpadmadha Shiman Ratnagara Shinhastanasto Dala Shila Govinda Devo Sadhavivam Shivadadadatsita Sanir Sanir Gopir Gopinatha Shriyastana Jai Tulsidevaya Priyaya Kesava Sacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadeva Sacha Namo Namaha Attanatpamam Chagurun Tadadan Yasanjalat Karun Bhakta Tathojam Devaya Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhara Govinda Sindha Harapadmanandastu Adhika Shri Guru Gauranga Sindha Harapadmanandastu Eti Kechu Aparadhanarukaraman Hoichen Hoiben Prabhu Jatavaktajan Vandana Kuriyami Sabhakshara Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, Tarun Prabhu.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Arati Ujjvala
Jaya Jaya
Arati Ujjvala Govardhana Padante Bhuvanam
Govardhana Padante Bhakti Pracharite Goma Samana Akalanka Induyena Jaya Vanita Jai Guru Maharaj. And then Abhiram will be called upon for numerous songs.
Jaya Guru Maharaja Jati Rajesvara.
Jaya Guru Maharaja Yati Rajeshwara.
Shri Bhakti Rachaka Deva Goswami Sridhara.
Shri Bhakti Lalita Deva Goswami Sridhara.
Patita Pavana Lila Vistare Bhuvane.
Patita Pavana Lila Vistare Bhuvane.
Nistari Radina Hina Apamara Jare.
Taila Dina Hina Pamarajana
Tomara Karuna Jana Murati Heriya
Tomara Karuna Ganda Murati Heriya
Preme Bhagya Vana Jiva Pode Muratiya
Preme Bhagavana Jiva Pode Muratiya
Sudhira Sudhira Jero Jidya Babesha
Sudirga Sukipya Deho Yavavasha
Jivya Jana Dutta Nitra Jivya Jyotimo
Ditya Gyan Ditya Nitra Ditya Jyotimo
Vara Suraja Kanti Aruna Vasana
Supana Suraja Kanti Aruna Vashana
Tilaka Tulasi Mala Chandana Pusana
Tilaka Tulasi Mala Chandana Bhushana
Uva Shriyanga Soba Korigala Mala
Apurva Shri Anga Shobha Purijala Mala
Madhura Unata Baba Madhura Upala
Udarya Unata Baba Madhurya Ujjala
Ajita Pratipa Pita Gambira Ujjara
Ajita Pratipa Sita Vira Udara
Jada Jana Raja Jadisarara
Yada Gyan Giri Vagra Ditya Dikshadara
Mura Sankirtana Rasa Sera
Ura Sankirtana Rasa Rasera Joyala Nitai Name Nitya Prema Maya Sango Pange Tora Dame Nitya Parakasha Uta Govardhana Ila Paravilasa Gaudiya Acharya Goshti Bhavajana Gaudiya Siddhanta Mare Kanta Vibhushana Gaura Saraswati Sruta Siddhante Rakani Abhishekya Rajira Sachintamani Sangrate Sambanjasya Esavapapa Tomarasa Chitta Vajasa Kamate Rupa Saraswati Dara Dekena Tamate Tulasi Malika Hase Namagrahana Deki Sakala Hoy Kapulipala Okay, Dayal Nitai Chaitanya Bole. English book page.
I'm 30 something.
133. 133.
Dayal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Shyaman.
Dayal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Natriyaman. Dayal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Natriyaman. chant Nagara Brahmya. 299.
Nagara Brahmya Margore Logore
Nagara Brahmya Magura Elogore.
Nagara Brahmya Margore Logore
Nagara Brahmya Magura Elogore.
Gora Logore Amarita Logore
Gora Elogore Amanita Elogore.
Gora Logore Amarita Logore
Gora Elogore Amanita Elogore. Nagara Brahmya Magura Elogore. Gora Elogore Amanita Elogore. Gulajari Sachi Mata Gora Elogore. Gulajari Sachi Mata Gora Elogore. Anandete Bhakta Gone Hari Hari Bole. Anandete Bhakta Gone Hari Hari Bole. Gulajari Sachi Mata Gora Anandete Bhakta Gone Hari Hari Anandete Bhakta Gone Hari Hari Anandete Bhakta Gone Hari Shri Guru Charana Padma in English book 80. Yeah.
So guys, we're gonna record now. So please parallels only 2 pairs, maybe I and Ananga. Записываем?
80. Shiv Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Satma
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Satma
Bandho Mui Sabadana Mate Hara Prasade Bhai E Bhavatariya Krishna Bhakti Hoy Aha Hoyte Krishna Prapti Hoy Aha Hoyte Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Chitete Koriya Kya
Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Chitete Koriya
Ahana Koriya Manheya Shri Guru Charan Herate Se Uttama Gati
Shri Guru Charana Se Uttama Gati
Shri Guru Charan Herate Se Uttama Gati
Shri Guru Charana Se Uttama Gati
Ye Prasade Pure Sabhayasha
Ye Prasade Pure Sabhayasha
Ye Prasade Pure Sabhayasha Chakudhana Dila Je Jamne Jamne Prabhu Se
Sudana Dila Jai Jamne Jamne Prabhu Se
Chakuran Dila Je Jamne Jamne Prabhu Se
Sudana Dila Jai Jamne Jamne Prabhu Se
Vidya Gyan Hide Prakashito
Vidyayana Vivekadashito
Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite Avijja Vinashyayate
Emma Bhaktiyaha Hoite Avidya Vinashyayate
Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite Avijja Vinashyayate
Emma Bhaktiyaha Hoite Avidya Vinashyayate
Vede Gaya Haracharito
Vedekaya Yanaracharito
Tripurana Eyadhamaloilu Sharana Tuyapadeloilu Sharana Sharanilam Abhaya Shipad Padme Sharanilam Daya Koro He Patit Papan Shri Gurudev Daya Koro He Adhama Patita Jene Daya Koro He Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev. The lotus feet of the spiritual master are the abode of pure devotional service. I bow down to those lotus feet with great care and attention. My dear brother, my dear mind, it is through the grace of the spiritual master that we cross over this material world. Make the teachings from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master one with your heart, and do not desire anything else. Attachment to the lotus feet of the spiritual master is the best means of spiritual advancement. By his mercy, all desires for spiritual perfection are fulfilled. He who has given me the gift of transcendental vision is my Lord, birth after birth. By his mercy, divine knowledge is revealed within the heart, bestowing loving devotion and destroying ignorance. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. O spiritual master, ocean of mercy, and friend of the fallen souls, you are the teacher of everyone and the life of all people. O master, be merciful unto me and give me the shade of your lotus feet. May your glories now be proclaimed throughout the three worlds. I have surrendered unto your lotus feet. Please give your mercy. O Sri Gurudev, savior of the fallen, please give me your mercy. You are the savior of the lowly fallen souls. All glories to you, Sri Gurudev. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Gauranga Radha Govinda Sindar Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sindar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Tulasi Maharani ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Kol Kartal ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande.
Jai Shri Bhakti Lalita Devi. Jai.
Great to be back at the lotus feet of Guru Gauranga, Radha Govinda Sindar, and Giriraj Govardhan in this beautiful Gupta Govardhan in its very lush and green state, ever beautiful, and home comfort, feeling very much the home comfort of this beautiful place. Just returned from Italy. And so we are resuming our Thursday morning live streams, and thanks to Devendra Prabhu and Sanatan Prabhu, we provide you with this service. And every once in a while I like to revisit Sri Guru and His grace, just recalibrating the compass, making sure we're getting it right and understanding who is Guru, what is our conception, and the unparalleled teachings of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And I must have read this book maybe 50 times in my 3 decades of being a Chaitanya Saraswat Math member, an aspiring devotee, and it's always new, and it's always living and alive and fresh. And every once in a while, I have to go back and revisit this book and refresh our conception and our understanding. And one of my very favorite quotes in this book is in the section of separation from Sri Guru. Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, "We are the messiahs of developing free internal faith in the Lord, faith that is to be nurtured. That sort of creeper should be planted in the garden of the heart and watered and nourished. The very characteristic of faith must not be lost by infringement, by overpressure from the laws and rules. The free flow of the heart must be kept. The movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more of the heart than of intellect. We should always consider this. The intellect must not check the free flow of the heart. We must always remember that. Free love and free faith are the only things, the most valuable things, for which we have come out from our own house and joined the mission. This purity of purpose should always be kept intact. Of course, some help from law and regulation is necessary, but not so much as to check the growth of our vitality. We must promote vitality, the real spirit. The real purpose of the mission should be given first hand, and lenient dealings are necessary amongst you. It is said, if the tongue is cut by the tooth, should I pull out the tooth? You are one organic whole. Your dealings should not be such that the forgiveness of love is forgotten. The giving of love will conquer more than the giving of law. What is the need of so much formality and fashion when ultimately we are all servants of the Lord? So here, sometimes the word Messiah, it's a big word, and we think of Jesus, the prophet. But here Srila Sridhar Maharaj is using it in the context of like someone who's nurturing faith, an instrument of divine grace, someone who's tending to the garden of devotion. That can mean all of us who are instruments, aspiring devotees, practitioners of bhakti. So also we all are given the opportunity as sharers, sharing this with whoever we meet, practicing, sharing. So this is the way Srila Sridhar Maharaj is using Messiah. So that means all of us, and that's why we have come, left our homes, joined the mission for this free flow of faith and love. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj says vitality that must be given the priority. What promotes vitality? And the real spirit of the mission should be given first hand. And lenient dealings are necessary amongst us, not extreme harsh dealings. So be generous and loving and forgiving with each other. We are one organic whole, and our dealings should be not anything but forgiveness of love, and not leaving that aside. So one of the very iconic, beautiful quotes of Srila Sridhar Maharaj that I often share and often reflect upon, keeping, we always have to remember, why did we come? We didn't join a sectarian institution. We didn't come out of our homes for the rules and regulations, but for love and for divine prospect in this beautiful line of bhakti, in this positive and progressive path of devotion. So a good one to reflect upon again and again. So we don't have time to read the whole book. So I have notes on so many subjects, and these are old notes that I like to go back to. Some of my favorite excerpts from this book that just keep me going and help me understand and calibrate and make sure, we're getting it right. We got to get this right, and the likelihood of us getting it wrong is too great. It's very high, subtle things that Srila Sridhar Maharaj is giving. So here, Srila Sridhar Maharaj talks about progress. Progress means elimination and new acceptance. So when there's a clash between the relative and the absolute standpoint, the relative must be left aside and the absolute should be accepted. The absolute and the relative are two different classes of interest, and we find more importance in the absolute interest, he explains. Sometimes we have to leave our paraphernalia if it does not suit us. So also, even in the conception of purity of Krishna consciousness, in the Vaishnav creed, there is purity and form. The form is necessary to help me in a general way to maintain my present position. At the same time, my conception of the higher ideal will always goad me to advance, to go forward. And wherever I go, I must follow the greater model, the greater ideal. Spiritual life is progressive, not stagnant. So always if we understand things are relative, but if there's a clash between the relative and absolute considerations, that higher ideal, that absolute ideal, takes the priority, the greater model, the greater consideration. Spiritual culture is progressive. We are in the stage of sadhana, spiritual practice, and we want a progressive life. We want to go ahead, not backwards. The formal position will help me to maintain my present status, and my extraordinary affinity for the ideal will goad me towards the front. There is development in the right way and also in the wrong way. The search for Sri Krishna is dynamic and living, so adjustment and readjustment is always going on. And we should always change our present position accordingly, so that we may not have to sacrifice the higher ideal for which we have come. So, this is the Krishna consciousness movement. Everything's moving and changing, and that's where Krishna is the center of. It's a dynamic and living thing. So we're always going to have to adjust and readjust to keep a healthy balance in our spiritual life. And it never ends in the Krishna consciousness movement. So we have to change with the movements. And we're changing so we don't sacrifice the ideal that we have left our homes and joined the mission for. Always keep that purity of purpose intact. Srila Sridhar says, many things are recommended in the scriptures, but they are meant to promote us towards the truth in an indirect way. Svadharme nindhanam shreya. It is recommended at a certain stage that for the sake of our close friends, we should give up our ideal. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's final instruction is Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam saranam braja. If it is necessary to maintain the highest ideal, you must give up your friends. Surrender to me. I am the real purport of the scriptures. The highest kind of idealists give up their country, their family, their friends, and everything else, but they can't give up their ideal. In another place, Srila Sridhar says, a person is judged, the best way, the best criterion for judging someone is judge them by their ideal. He says if their ideal is great, the person is great. So again and again, he's always talking about ideal, keeping it front and center, and always recalibrating according to that ideal. Srila Sridhar says, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, it is better to die while performing one's own duty than to try to do another's duty. That is one stage of understanding, the relative consideration. The absolute consideration is also given in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharma parityaja. Krishna says, give up everything. Come to me directly. This is the revolutionary way. This is absolute. And this is relative. Stick to your own clan. Don't leave them. That is the national conception. There is nation consciousness and God consciousness. Society consciousness and God consciousness. God consciousness is absolute. If society consciousness hinders the development of God consciousness, it should be left behind. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Even a spiritual master, quote, 5:5:18. Even a spiritual master, relative, parent, husband, or demigod who cannot save us from repeated birth and death should be abandoned at once. What to speak of ordinary things? Even the guru may have to be abandoned. One may even have to give up one's own spiritual guide, as in the case of Bali Maharaj, or one's relatives in the case of Vibhishan. In the case of Prahlad, his father had to be given up, and in the case of Bharat Maharaj, it was his mother. In the case of Khatvanga Maharaj, he left the demigods, and in the case of the Yagyapatnis, the wives of the Brahmanas, they left their husbands in the endeavor to reach the absolute personality. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj is talking about God consciousness versus society consciousness, relative and absolute considerations. He says here, we need society only to help us. If our affinity to the society keeps us down, then that should be given up, and we must march on. There is the absolute consideration and the relative consideration. And when they come into clash, the relative must be given up, and the absolute should be accepted. If my inner voice, my spiritual conscience, decides that this sort of company cannot really help me, then I must be under painful necessity to give them up and run towards my destination, wherever my spiritual conscience guides me. Any other course will be hypocrisy, and it will check my real progress. If we are sincere in our attempt, then no one in the world can check us or deceive us. We can only deceive ourselves. Nahi kalyana krit kaschid durgatim tata ghachati. We must be true to our own selves and true to the Supreme Lord. We must be sincere. This is very crucial. We have to be true to our inner necessity. And if the outer environment, the relative considerations is bringing us down, it should be left behind. If it's no longer helping us, it's designed to help us, society, the institution, the mott. It's meant to nurture us, to protect us, to give us facility, to develop this free flow of the heart. If it's no longer helping us, then the painful necessity may arise to give it up. Student asks Srila Sridhar Maharaj, after the disappearance of the spiritual master, how should the disciples continue his mission? Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, you must not neglect your conscience. You may go to fight as a soldier to save your country or your people or your honor. Your environment does not depend on your whim. It may appear extremely perplexing, but you will have to face that. However complex the battlefield may be, as a soldier, you will have to fight. Otherwise, you have no faith in your own cause. There may be disturbances. Rather, we say there should be. Maybe even fighting amongst devotees. But we should not leave the preaching of Mahaprabhu despite all differences. Disturbance must come because our most beloved Guru has withdrawn from amongst us. Such is a great curse that has been thrown on our heads. Should we like to live peacefully? In its wake, disturbances must come, and we must undergo them. Still, we must remain sincere. We must face the difficulty in a proper way. It has come to train us to go in the right direction. So, we certainly have been experiencing this after the disappearance of our Gurudev. We anticipated some disturbance, but it came with full force and even still continues to this day. Quote, what we received from our spiritual master, we understood only in a rough estimation. Now things have come in such a way that we have to scrutinize ourselves in every position. We have to analyze ourselves. Atma Nikshepa, self-analysis has begun. We are under trial. What we received from our spiritual master, in what way have we received it? Properly or only showingly? The time has come to purify us, to test whether we are real students, real disciples, or his disciples only in face and confession. What is the position of a real disciple? If we live in the society, what is the depth of our creed? In what attitude have we accepted his teachings? How deep-rooted is it within us? The fire has come to test whether we can stand. Is our acceptance real, or is it a sham, an imitation? This fire will prove that. So we must not be afraid of any adverse circumstances. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, a happy Kshatriya hankers for the battle you are facing. Our karma has come to face us, to surround us, and we cannot avoid it. These disturbances are a result of our own karma. They came from within us, so we must not quarrel. We must act properly in dealing with that. We have to scrutinize more accurately what have we understood. Everyone must ask themselves, where am I? What is my real need? And how much am I hankering for the real thing? All these things will be expressed and made public. So this is the real field of sadhana, or practice. Our practice, our advancement needs all these difficulties. Otherwise, we may not know what is progress. We will become hypocrites and give some adulterated thing to others. That's why we have to recalibrate. So, to purify ourselves, it is necessary that so many disturbances come, churning us and facing our karma and act properly in dealing with the reactions of our actions. God has no error. He commands the environment. It is not our responsibility. The responsibility of the environment does not rest upon us. Our responsibility is within ourselves alone. The environment is in the hands of the Lord. He has not done any wrong to me. If I am sincere, then I have to adjust myself with this environment and put my faith before Him. By our stand in any circumstances in the battle, our patriotism will be put to the test, and we will be tested to see whether we are real soldiers or not. Anything may come, but we will have to face that. I must not forget my Lord, my Guru, my Gauranga, my Radha Govinda under any circumstances. Under all unfavorable circumstances, I must stand with my head and erect and say, yes, I'm a servant of that clan, that sampradaya. Everyone may leave me, but I shall stand alone. With this attitude, we must march on, whatever the circumstances may be. Then the recognition may come in my favor that yes, under such trying circumstances, they are still there. Our superiors will be pleased with us. So our soul must have such flexibility in the service of the Lord. We must have no ego whatsoever. Of course, that is in the external sense, for we have permanent ego within, the pure ego. When the soul enters into that higher domain, the position of that is but this material ego, that must be dissolved cent% and put into the fire and burned to ashes. We must be one-pointed in our aim towards the truth. Do or die, whatever circumstances that may come to frighten me, I won't be frightened. So, when we are in school, all do not pass. Some fail. And then we will have to meet new classmates. Again, we advance. And again, we have new classmates. And old classmates may fall behind. It is quite natural. That does not mean we are envious of them. We are sympathetic. We shall try our best to help them. But still it may happen. We cannot help it, but this is the nature of spiritual life. So the absolute and relative principles are always clashing. They will seem to fight with one another, but the absolute should be accepted and the relative should be sacrificed. Still, the relative is necessary. A boy must put his whole faith in his primary school teacher. Otherwise, his progress will be hindered. He should not think that what his teacher teaches him is all false or of a lower type. When he grows up, he will accept another teacher for higher education. But that does not mean the primary teacher is neglected or insulted. For his own interest, whatever we find which is akin to what was given to us by our Guru Maharaj, whatever we find that will enlighten us further, and whatever will help us to understand more clearly we've heard from our Guru Maharaj, must be accepted. So we have a primary education, middle education, higher education, different teachers accordingly. And we don't neglect or insult our primary teacher, and we need progress, and we might outgrow different teachers, different gurus, and keep everyone respected. Otherwise, what have I taken in the prison house of my mind through my scholarship? God is not a finite thing. He is infinite. And as much as the cell, and as much as in the cell of my brain I have imprisoned him, shall I stick to only that? What is this? Is my realization a living thing, or is it dead? Is there any growth? What have I received from my spiritual master? Can it grow, or is it finished? Have I reached the infinite standard where I can progress no further? If someone says that they have reached that standard and that there is nothing further to be realized, then we offer our obeisances to them from far away. We are not worshippers of that. If one thinks that they're finished and that they've attained perfection, we hate that. Even an acharya should consider that he is a student and not a finished professor who has everything. One should always think of themselves as a bona fide student. We have come to realize the infinite, not a finite thing. So this is the fight between the finite and infinite knowledge, and it will continue always. So, this is the very gist of the Guru Parampara, the disciplic succession. It's shiksha, the spiritual teaching, and wherever it is to be traced, there is Guru. So, teaching us non-sectarian conception, and always have to keep that intact. One who has the transcendental eye, the divine eye, will recognize the Guru wherever he appears. One who possesses knowledge of absolute divine love and purity, he is Guru. Otherwise, Guru Parampara is only a body parampara, a succession of bodies. Then the caste brahmanas, the caste Goswamis will continue with their trade, because body after body they are getting the mantra, but their mantra is dead. We are after a living mantra, and wherever we can trace the living tendency for a higher type of devotional service, we shall find that there is our Guru. One who has that vision awakened will be able to recognize the Guru wherever the Guru appears. We are slaves of truth. We are beggars for the pure current of truth that is constantly flowing, the fresh current. We are not charmed by any formality. I will bow down my head wherever I find the river of nectar coming down to me. When one is conscious of the absolute truth, which is descending to me from the highest domain, we will think, I must surrender myself here. Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyashi, Sudra Kene Nai. Wherever the truth appears, wherever the nectar of divine ecstasy descends, I shall offer myself as a slave. That is my direct concern. So crucial to keep this in mind as we go about our everyday life. Whatever form it takes doesn't matter much. The form has some value, but if there is any conflict, the inner spirit of a thing should be given immense value over its external cover. Otherwise, if the spirit has gone away, the bodily connection gets the upper hand, then so-called spiritual life becomes sahajyaism. a cheap imitation. When we are conscious of the real substance of Krishna consciousness, the real wealth we are receiving from our spiritual master, then our spiritual life cannot be sahajiaism, imitationism. We must be aware enough to detect our Guru's advice when we find it in another. One who is awake will see, here is my Guru's advice. I find it here in this man, or it could be a woman. Somehow or other, it has come here. How do I not know? But I see my Guru's characteristics, his dealings and behavior in this person. When we are able to recognize a thing for its intrinsic value, then whatever and wherever we find it, we cannot neglect it. The flow of spiritual truth as a living thing, not a dead thing. The vigilant eye of the Lord is always over our heads, and whenever it is necessary to keep the current pure and flowing in full force, he descends from above. So, when the truth is sufficiently covered, disturbed, and mutilated by the influence of Maya, the illusory energy, then an attempt is made by the devotees of the Lord or by the Lord himself to rejuvenate it and return it to its previous standard of purity. We cannot expect truth to continue here in this world of misunderstanding without any tampering or interruption. So the disciplic succession is not a bodily succession. Sometimes it's present, sometimes it's lost, and only appears again and again after 2 or 3 generations, just as with Prahlad Maharaj. He was a great devotee, but his son was a demon, and again his grandson was a devotee. Even in the physical plane we see such interruptions. In the spiritual line we also see the channel of truth affected by the influence of Maya or misconception. So the experts will seek out the important personages in the line. So there's Shastra Guru, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, and Nam Guru, all taken together. In this way, a real channel has to be given to save us, to keep the flow of the highest truth from, Shastra Guru, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, and Nam Guru are all taken together. In this way, a real channel has been given to save us, to keep up the flow of the highest truth from that world to this world. This policy has been adopted by the acharyas. Wherever we have found any contribution that is by the will of Krishna, the highest contribution to the line, we have accepted it. So we accept Shastra Guru, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, Mantra Guru, Nam Guru. We accept them all as our Guru. We give respect to Ramanuja, who is the head of another school of Vaishnavas, but we do not give respect to a Sahajya, an imitationist, who is in the line of Mahaprabhu only in the physical sense, but who is mutilating and tampering with the real teachings of Mahaprabhu. The imitationists are not considered. Although in a physical sense they are in the line of Mahaprabhu and Rupa and Sanatan, and when we go to judge the very spirit of the line, we see that they are nowhere. Their connection with Mahaprabhu is only a physical imitation. On the other hand, we find that Ramanuja has made a substantial contribution to Vaishnavism. Madhvacharya has given a sufficient contribution to Vaishnavism. And Nimbarka has also made his contribution, so we accept them according to our necessity. But we reject the physical so-called current keepers because what is found there is all mutilated and tampered with. There is a proverb, which is more useful, the nose or the breath? The intelligent may say the breath is more essential than the nose. To sustain the life, the nose may be cut off, but the breath, if the breath continues, one may live. We consider the breath to have more importance than the nose. So the physical form will misguide people to go away from the truth and follow a different direction. We don't consider the bodily connection important in the acharya-ship. It is spiritual and not a body current. The disciple of a true devotee may even be a non-devotee. We admit that because we see it, and the Lord himself says, Sa kalenha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. The current is damaged by the influence of this material world. In the line, some are affected, so some go astray and may even become non-devotees. So the continuation through the physical succession is not a safe criterion to be accepted. We must trace only the current of spiritual knowledge. Wherever we can get that, we must accept it, even if it comes from Ramanuja, Madhva, or Nimbarka. As much as we get from them substantially, we accept and we reject the so-called followers of our own tradition if they are mere imitationists. So if the truth is to be found in a substantial way somewhere else, that should be accepted. Wherever there is devotion and the correct consideration of Mahaprabhu, our Guru is there. Who is our Guru? Guru is not to be found in the physical form. Guru is to be traced wherever we find the embodiment of pure thought and understanding, which Mahaprabhu has imparted to save us. We have all left social concerns and so many other shackles. For what? For the absolute truth. And wherever I shall find that, I must bow down my head. And if a great soul shows us, this is the path where you will find your thirst quenched, the line is a zigzag way. This is the path to where you will find your thirst quenched. The line is in this zigzag way. We must accept that for our own interest. We are worshippers not of form but of substance. If the current of spiritual substance comes in another way, but I think I must try to go this way and reach my goal, it is only jealousy, blind tenacity to stick to the physical thing. We must free ourselves from this material contamination and try to understand the value of spiritual truth. We should always be prepared for that. We must follow what is necessary for our own best interest. So there's a lot more to my notes, but that's a lot to take in for one episode, one morning class episode. This book is extremely important and everyone needs to read it again and again. And this is the 5th printing edition, and it's available free online, digital format in our scsmot.com website, on Gaudiya Darshan website, on Prema Dharma website, and available in hard copies from our London Mott bookstore and in Vrindavan bookstore. I know this book has always been a source of nourishment and life-saving grace for me, especially after our Gurudev Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj left the world. But every day, if we can bathe our consciousness in this and stay healthy and well-adjusted and properly conceiving reality according to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, then we will be most benefited and getting things right in the way they should be. So many important messages here. And what are we doing? We should always recalibrate with such beautiful realizations that we find here, Shri Guru and His grace. So enough said from my side today, and here at everyone's service and praying for grace and that all may be well, and doing our best as human beings with a high aspiration. We must not forget we are human and we're so tiny, and it's so easy to misunderstand and make mistakes, but every day is a new day to keep trying to acquaint ourselves with reality, to adjust our angle of vision, and to be healthy in our devotional lives. Jai Shri Bhakti Lalita Devi Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Guru and His Grace ki Jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai, Om Vishnupad Shri Bhakti Siddhar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Jai Shri Bhakti Siddhar Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Bhakti Bimala Vidit Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mata Charja Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Gupta Govardhan ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai, Tadiya Saka Mat ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Go Premanande.
Jai Shri Bhakti Lalita Devi.
Jai Gurudev. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna.
Hari-katha Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah.
Hari-katha Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah.
Gopala Govindaram Srimadhusudana.
Gopala Govindaram Srimadhusudana.
Sridhari Gopinath Namo Kacheri Varyashi Tarashata Shishima Shila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shtapar Shila Bhakti Rakshak Shila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shtapar Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Shtapar Shila Gaur Kishore Das Bhavaj Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shtapar Shila Sachitana Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Shtapar Shila Jagannath Das Bhavaj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Macharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Samveta Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Samveta Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. Jai Shila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shila Bhakti Bimala Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Lalita Devi Ki Jai. All the Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. All the Sannyasis Ki Jai. All the devotees Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Maybe let's just well, it's another.
Oh yeah. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. A little too much. Fighting.
I kept saying like,
Not even. Well, you said it once.